Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how to create this particular dynamic and interactive Microsoft Excel personal expenses dashboard. So if you learn how to create this, you're going to actually learn how to actually keep your data and have it analyzed to give insight and see where you're actually spending much or what you actually need to improve in your own personal finance. So this is something very dynamic, and this is the data set we have actually used to actually power the dashboard you have just seen, right? So over here we have some couple of questions we need to answer, and we have actually answered those particular questions using the data that we have. So tracking the total income, tracking the expenses, the balance, the service rate, average monthly spending, and average monthly income right in here. Then if we go over here right now, we have other questions that we have actually answered, starting from our spending growth and the income growth as well. And over here we are looking at which accounts do I spend from most. We have actually answered the question. Over here it says, how has my spending income changed over time? So that's exactly what the dashboard is actually answering. So over here it says, how do my habits change on weekdays versus weekends? Something very important. Here it actually has to do with how consistent is my income. So we have actually solved this particular, questions inside the dashboard you have just seen. And right here, finally, it says, what is the impact of these fuel spikes right here? And if you look at the dashboard, we have answered every single questions that you have just, seen. So I'm going to show you how to actually create something like this. Is very advanced. It's not basic dashboard, it's advanced. It might look very simple, but it has a lot going on right in here. If you're interested in learning how to actually build this particular dashboard from the scratch, all you have to do right now is to support this channel by subscribing to it. So ask questions if you actually have any doubt. I'll be right here to actually answer your questions. So how about this? So let us get into the class. You're welcome. If you have the resources downloaded, you're going to see this particular, workbook in it. Open it up and you have this. So the very first thing we're going to take care of is actually trying to convert this particular data into a table. So with simple Control T, you can actually have it done. Click anywhere and just do Control T, and automatically it will convert this particular data into a table for you. Can you see it now? Make sure this My Table has header is being checked. Now click on OK. Now we have this. So this particular, date here is not really cool. We can just try to change it by clicking on Control 1. Then we have this opened. So don't use custom. Go to date. Then select this particular one for shorter format. Now we have taken the time off. The next thing we have to do right now is to actually extract type from this particular column. So over here we have description. So what we need from here right away is actually going to be type. So how do we do that? To get this done right now, there are several ways. I think the most snappy way is what I'm going to use. We have Power Query way of doing this. So we don't have to go to Power Query to actually have this done. All we need to do is just to make sure we actually select or highlight this column. Go to the top ribbon here and click on data. If I'm not mistaken, yes, data. Then use text to column. Click on it right here. So the next thing now is to look at this particular step. We have step 1 to 3. The first step is for we to actually choose the limiter. And once we have done that, we click on next. Next here is actually identifying what the limiter you have right in the column. So it's actually dash. So come over here and select others. Then put dash over here. So once you have done that, automatically it will split this for you. Then click on next. So that is the third step. Then click on finish. Automatically you have this very column. So it is named as column. So we have to just change the name to type. Now here we go. We have it changed to type. So this is all the transformation we need to do right in here. So the next thing now is for we to start answering questions. So we're going to start with KPIs. Here is our KPI. questions right in here. We have to calculate total income, expenses, balance, savings rate, average monthly spending, and average monthly income plus most frequent vendor. Those are the KPIs we want to actually create right now. So for us to get this done, the very first thing we have to do is to create what I call pivot table. We don't have to use formulas to get this done or any function. Just go ahead and summarize the data with pivot table. So click over this particular insert, and once you have done that, you're going to see this particular pivot table here. Then make sure you're using existing worksheet. Then click on KPI. Then try to actually select a particular cell you want to use. So here we go. Click on OK. Now we have our first pivot table created. So what do we want? We want to calculate total income. To get that done right now, we'll bring in amount into these particular values. Then we go ahead and actually plug in type into filter. Can you see it right now? So once we have done this, we just have to make sure we click over this particular part right here and have it formatted. With Ctrl+1, I can go over to this particular currency here and go to here and choose any currency sign of my choice. So I am actually from Nigeria. I'm going to use the Nigerian number formatting for this very purpose. So you are free to actually choose any number formatting you want. No extra decimal number. Click on OK. So you can use dollar, pounds, Ghana city, whatever you want to use. But in my own case, I'm going to use this. So once I've done this right now, I'm going to come over here and actually choose income. Then click on OK. You can see number has reduced. So once I've done this right now, I'm going to copy this, Ctrl+C, then come over here, Ctrl+V to paste it down. So if you look at it right now, I did not copy the complete pivot table. So for that, this is not a pivot table, but just, a text. So Ctrl+Z again, make sure you select it up to this particular level, then Ctrl+C to copy, over here, Ctrl+V to paste. So what I've done right now, in some cases, it is wrong for you to put a pivot table beneath another pivot table. So if you know that this particular pivot table right here will actually grow vertically, don't actually place any pivot table beneath it. Otherwise, you're going to mess up your analysis in the long run. But in my own case, this is just a single value right in here. It's not going to grow either vertical or horizontally. So I can actually put in on that pivot table beneath it. So all I need to do right now is to come over here and click on expenses, then click on OK. Can you see it right now? Okay, I can definitely go ahead and move this over here, then move this particular one over here and hold your control key selected, both of them, then bold them. All right, so we have actually gotten this created. The next thing now is for me to calculate the balance. So I'm going to bring this one over to here. This is my balance over here. So to get the total balance right away, what I need to do is just for me to actually say, okay, I'm just going to take this particular, total income. I'm going to subtract my expenses from it. So here we go. We have our total balance. Now, if you want to replace the sum of and just remove the sum of, just do Ctrl+H. Then just do sum of like this and replace it with nothing. Just say replace all. Then if I click on OK right now, it's gone. I only have total expenses, type, amount. Then that is up. So the next thing we have to do right now is to actually calculate for this particular KPI right here. So how do we calculate for savings rate? It's simple. All we have to do is to take our total income, which is this particular one, and divide it by the balance right here. So once you have done this, it's going to come this format. To calculate the savings rate, all you have to do is just to say, okay, equals this particular balance right in here. You divide it by the total income that you have. So just go ahead and actually click on OK. It's going to come in this particular form. Let's go ahead and Ctrl+1, then percentage. So click on OK. So it's 13.10%. This is your service rate. Okay. Next again is for you to calculate average monthly, spending right in here. To get this done, it's gonna take another pivot table to get this done. So maybe your question will be like, why another pivot table? Let me show you. So if I go ahead and copy this particular pivot table from here, I'm going to create something over here. So now we have a new pivot table. So I'm going to take off type. I'm going to take off the amount. So what I want to bring into this particular pivot table right now will be the date into this particular part. So now I don't want to see the quarter. I don't want to see the year. I just want to see the month. So from here, I can actually go over to design, then go over to this particular part and show in tabular form, then turn off grand total. Then I have this. So if I count this right now, using count A, I'm going to have 12 months. So the reason why I'm doing this right now is that our average should actually be dynamic. I do the same thing in Power BI. I try to make sure the average is being averaged by the numbers of months that a filter actually, highlighted. So this is 12. We don't want to hand code it inside our average formula right in here. You get it right now? So what am I saying? To get this particular average done right now, average monthly, spending, that is average expenses, average total expenses. So what we need to do right now is to use this particular function. Is it a function? Rather, we're going to use what I call formula to get it done. So now we're going to take our expenses here, then divide it by 12. Can you see it now? So what we have done right away is hand coding this in, right? So what happens if I do it the other way around? I'm going to take this particular number and divide this number by count A. So the count A is going to count this particular part right in here, close and hit the enter key. So if you look at it right now, we have the same exact number. But wait a minute. What if we don't have December, November, and October? For example, let's say we place some kind of slicer and December, November, and October is not there. If I click on OK, guess what happens? This automatically calculates the right one for me compared to this particular one that is actually static. So we have the correct one here because it's actually calculating based on the numbers of what? Of the months available. So which is 9 months. So we are now doing this particular one, which is over here. We're doing division of this particular number by 9. So not by 12. Over here, we hand coded this in. This is why it is not healthy to do this, right? It's correct. But the moment we have a filter or some filters affecting this particular month, and if the month is not up to 12 again, it's going to be difficult for us to get the right average. So for that, let's clear this. And now I'm going to take this off and just go with this particular one that is using count A to count how many months here. Once it's reduced, it's going to pick it up immediately. Okay, now we have done this here. Let's see what is next. The next KPI I want to calculate right now is going to be this one here. It's almost the same thing. So all we have to do is just to come over here and do equals. So what it's take is the income over here. We divide that by the count A of this particular month right in here. Okay, now here we go. We just have to go ahead and actually format it. So I'm going to hold here, take off the extra decimal number, then over here, give it the same formatting. All right, at this particular junction, if you are still watching and you have not subscribed to this particular channel, please do subscribe. It's very important to me. Help this particular channel to grow. Leave a comment and let me know what you feel about my videos. So let's get back to the class. All right, so we have one more KPI to go, and that KPI is actually, frequent vendor, most frequent vendor. So I'm going to pull it over to this particular part here. So we just need another pivot table to get this done. So I can actually go ahead and copy this particular pivot table from here. So once I've done that, I'm going to paste it over here. Then straight up to this particular part, I'm going to just go ahead and put up this one. So most frequent vendor, let us understand from our data, do we have a column like that? So we do have a column called vendor. So if we are looking for most frequent vendor, how do we get that? So let's go over to here, to our KPI, and pick up the vendor column and push it right in here. Okay, so to get the most frequent vendor right now, you can actually pick up any other column from here. It could be the same vendor and drop it into values area. So if you look at it right now, this is actually giving us sum, or count rather. It's giving us count. So this count that we have right in here is good, but unfortunately, this particular, formatting we have on it is not really cool at all. So what do? We change the formatting. So just go ahead and do this over here, comma separator. So we have this. So the next thing we have to do to answer the question is to actually right click and go to sort. So make sure you actually sort this largest to smallest. So as you can see, MTN has the most frequent value right in here. So which means the most frequent vendor is this particular one. So if you want to actually use formula to get it done, it's very simple. All you have to do is to actually use max function. So the max function is going to actually look for the max value from this range, and it returns the same exact number for you. And if you want to dynamically search for which particular vendor has this number here, you're going to use index. So I'm about to show you something right in here, something very important, very tangible, which we're going to be using continuously in this particular tutorial. Just watch it. So I have index here. The index is asking for array. The array is what I want to return in this particular cell. So my array will actually be from here. So if I now put a comma right now, it's asking me for row. So the row now, if I put 1 over here and close it, it's going to return MTN for me because MTN is sitting in the first row, which is this. But unfortunately, I don't want to actually do this. What do I want? I want to actually make sure if this particular number changed, I want to actually make sure it's actually giving me exactly what is actually sitting here. So what do? I would go over to this particular part. I'm going to use match. So the match function is asking for the lookup value. This is my lookup value. So the lookup array right now is where can I find this particular number? So find it right in here. So once you have done this right now, put a comma, exact match 0, then close and close for your index, then hit the enter key. Can you see? Now it is still giving us MTN. Can you see it now? So this is exactly what you can do. So I told you I want to show you something. We have to do this and this before we actually get the final answer to the most frequent vendor. But this is not what it should be. Have you heard of this particular var here? So variable is used inside Microsoft Power BI just to make sure you store something inside it and reuse it over and over again in the same measure. This actually reduces the numbers of measures you are going to write. What if I tell you that inside Microsoft Excel we have something similar to this? It's called let. Let here helps you to store something over and over again. Use it without writing too much formulas in different cells to get the final result you really want. So let me show you how to get that. So now, how do we use let to actually get these two things done in one single way without writing this one first before we get this final one? So let us come over here and do let. So with our let right in here, Alt Enter will actually take us to a new line. So over here now, the first thing I want to do is to retrieve the max value. So I'm going to say here, max value. So my max value right now, put a comma on it, use the function called max here. So max is looking for the area to actually find the max from. So here we go, we have it. So once I've done this right now, put a comma. The next thing now is for we to look for the max vendor, the vendor that has this particular max value. So do Shift Alt Enter. So Alt Enter. So now I'm going to type max vendor here, comma. So for the max vendor, this is where we have to use our index, just like what we have done before. The index is looking for an array. The array is where we want to retrieve something from, exactly what we want to retrieve. So it's going to be from here. So put a comma on it. So the comma now is asking for the row number. So instead of us to give it 1 to retrieve something from here, we're going to rather use this particular max value right in here. That is the max. Can you see it right now? Then I'm going to do here max. So automatically you have it sitting right in here. Can you see it now? So which is this particular max value here. So once you have done that, put a comma on it. It's asking for the that is going to be, oh sorry, we ought to have used match function first. So here is going to be match function. Okay, let me show you how to use let to get this done in one single cell without having this one and this one. So to get that done right now, let us come over to this particular part here. Now equals let. So let here is looking for name, which means you have to name it just like the way you name variable in Power BI. So Alt Enter will actually take you to a new line. So I'm going to call this one max value. Or to differentiate it, I'm going to do max underscore value. So in Power BI, I used to do something like underscore max value. So if you now have a similar, name that is just like a function, you can differentiate it because you are using underscore. So now I have max value here. What do I want to store in here? I want to store the max value from our count of vendor. So use the max function, just like what we have done before. So max. So with the max here, just come over here and retrieve the max value from here. So close. So we have stored our max into here. And what is our max? Our max is actually 343. Then put a comma on it, Alt Enter to enter into a new line, underscore again. This time around, we are going to actually use what? We're going to use max vendor, which means we're trying to retrieve the max vendor and it's MTN. So how do we do that? We can actually use what? Use index to get that done. So index is looking for an array, which means where is the MTN sitting? It could be MTN, it could be Jumia, it could be, anything like Sportbet, Amazon, Uber, or whatever it is. So now it's actually this particular column here. Okay. The next thing now is looking for a row number. We don't want to give it a row number. Instead, we give it match. So this time around, this is where it is getting much more interesting. We don't have to come over here to actually, return anything from here. Instead, we're going to use our underscore here, max value. Then once we actually give it max value, it's now asking for what? For lookup array. Our lookup array right now should be this particular part right in here. Can you see it now? So once we have gotten this one done, then the match type should actually be 0 for the exact match, then we close. So once we have done this right now, the next thing we have to do is to actually say, we want to close for our let. Alt Enter, we close for let. Once I hit my enter key, we are missing something. So we should return what? We put a comma here to return vendor. Alt Enter, underscore, now return max vendor. If I hit my enter key, I have MTN. Can you see how this looks? So let us go through it again. Over here, the very first thing we did is just for we to first of all store in max value from here, which is this particular one, into this particular place using the max function. Then for we to retrieve this particular MTN, we actually did this particular, function here down to this particular level. So after we have done that, we have to return it back again to actually get what we wanted. And that actually gave birth to this very MTN here, which means if I have this one deleted, I still have this one. Except if I need to actually use this particular number right in here. There is no need for me to retrieve this number separately and come and retrieve this particular one separately by linking this one to it. This is exactly what you need to understand. We're going to be using this particular way to get this done a lot, and it actually simplifies your function and formula inside Microsoft Excel. So just keep watching. I'm going to show you how to actually get this done like this. So this is exactly what you need to do to actually create your KPI, and it's getting interesting. So stay tuned and let's see how we can actually get this better. But don't forget to subscribe and share if you like, and actually make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you feel about my videos and what I should actually improve right. So we want to create a very, slicky dashboard. So what we need to do right now is to actually add a new sheet. And over here, we're going to name this one dashboard, right? So quickly, we just have to go to the top ribbon, click on view, and turn off headers and grid lines. So we have something as plain as this. So I'm going to go to the top ribbon again. Now click on insert, then we go to illustrations, then go to shapes. I'm going to take this particular rectangular shape right in here with rounded corner. Then once I've done that, I'm going to actually drag it over to this particular part and just position it right in here. So we need to have a white space here and a white space over here. Then the white space should be equal to what we have at the bottom, right? So if you think it's not really, equal, just go to the top ribbon again, click on align, and click on this, go back, click on align. Okay, I think it's not active. I don't know why. We should actually have this align being active, but it's not active. We can just use our eye to gauge it. So the rendered corner shouldn't be too much. I'm just going to reduce it to this. Now Control 1 will give me something like this. Just have to go to the line and turn off the line. So now we are going to come to the fill color, then go to gradient fill over here and take off some of this one should come over to this area. Move this particular one over here. Add another stop to it. Just click it to be added, to it for you, and add another stop right in here. And move this particular stop closer. So we're going to arrange all of this later after all. So in the first stop, we just want to actually try to give it a color. So I'm going to come over here now and go to more colors. Then if you're not using the same version as what I'm using right now, this is Excel 2021. So if you're using 365, you can follow up. Anything lower than this, you might actually have some things I'm not really, you might actually have some things. If your Excel version does not have hex codes, let us go with RGB. I think it's going to be very easy for you. So over here, put 95 into here. Then for the green, we're going to use 234. Then for our blue right in here, we're going to use 162. So now click on OK. This is what we have. So click over here again and go to this particular part and click on more colors. So what we can do right away is just for we to just repeat the same thing, but this time around it's going to be something different from what we have done. We're going to actually tweak the color a little bit. So let's go over here and do 88, and over here we're going to do 210, and over here we're going to do 147. So still green, but a little bit different from the previous one. Then we're going to repeat the same thing for this particular part again, and this particular part is going to be a different green. This green should be a little bit darker than what we have just used right now. So click over here and go to more colors. Let's click over the red. The red should actually be 79. And over here we're going to do 178 and 127. Can you see it now? Click over here. So let's just go on this one, more color. And over here, what we're going to do is going to be 70, then 145, and finally we do 107. So now you can see, click on this one again and go to more colors. So we're going to use 61 over here, 61 and 112. Then over here, we're going to do 86. Then we click on OK. Then finally, we go for this particular one. This one should be more darker than what we have used right now. So let's go with 52. Then over here, we're going to do 80. And right here, we're going to do 66. So this is the darker version of it. So this is exactly what we have right in here. So we can now control how this looks. Move this one closer. Move it here, move this one, and move this. So right in here, we're going to move it. So you can see how it creates this for us. So if you have gotten this now, the next thing you have to do is for we to actually treat our background. So I'm going to Control A to highlight everything. Then let us go over here and pick this particular darker version for our background. Can you see how it looks right now? This is exactly what we want. This particular part fainted into the background, and this is exactly what I'm looking forward to seeing, and I love it. Okay, once we have this now, let's go back up again, insert and illustrations, then go to shapes, and let's just take this particular rounded rectangle again and drag it in here. Okay, fine. White space over here is important, please. So the rounded corner should be reduced, and just have to almost match it up. Okay, so reduce it. Having white space over here is important. So bring this down. So Control 1. Over here, we're going to put off the line. Then right in here, I'm going to select white as the color. So we go with this. Can you see it now? So here we go. We have something that looks like this. Okay, I think for this particular background here, we have used this panel here. We shouldn't use exact white color. So I'm thinking of a different color to be used. So let's go ahead and Control 1 and come over here and select this particular color here. I think this one will be more calm. So let's go with this one, right? So once we have this on, the next thing we have to do right now is to go back again and pick up this particular same rectangular rounded corner and drag it in here. So with this now, we can position it right over here. So I always maintain white space because it makes your dashboard look beautiful. So the white space at the top shouldn't be too much. I think something like this is okay, and the edge here should have it. Then reduce this particular rounded corner here. We want to have it, but not really too much. So now take off the line. This time around, this one should be pure white. Go over here and choose white. Okay, look at how this is looking already. So I want to make sure this one is a little bit darker. So let's go back here and select this one. Okay, this is cool. I love it. This one pops out a lot right now. So we want to have this one into 5 places. What you need to do is just to duplicate this one, keep it right here, duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Here we go. We have something that looks like this. So what I'm going to do right now is just to move this one and make sure this particular space here is equals to this particular space I have right in here. So once I have gotten that, hold your Control key to select, 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 and finally select this one. Let's go all the way up and go to this particular align and align top, and you go ahead and distribute horizontally. So what about this? So here you go, you have this right in here. This is where our KPI goes into, right? So quickly, let us go to the top ribbon, and we have a text box here. Select the text box and actually drag it over this particular part. And what I'm going to type in here should be total income. So I'm going to actually finalize the formatting first. Let's go ahead and actually increase it a little bit. And for the color, we just want to select something very calm. Okay. I think this seems to look very okay. So let us use 14. Nice one. So 14 looks cool. So duplicate it and actually keep. Okay. Delete it first. Click on this one. And let us remove the fill. So no fill, no line. So we have something like that looks like this. So duplicate it again. So now we have the names of our KPIs right in here, and it's already beautiful. Okay, what we can do right now is to select all of them like this. Once we have done this right now, whenever your cursor turns into a plus, a little plus like this, just drag it down over here, then release it. You see that now? This is what you want. Okay, this is where our values goes into. So let us go ahead and turn on our formula bar over here. Now, right in here, we have to go into here, equal sign. Let's go to a KPI and pick up our first KPI from here. That is total income. Okay, we have this. Then let's go again and pick up for our expenses. Then we have this. So we want to go on to take for balance. So for balance now, we have this. And for savings rate here, we want to take up the savings rate. So we're going to go for savings rate, which is going to be this very one here. So we have it. And finally, we're going to take for this very one. So we scroll through where we have that. This is it right in here. So we have something that looks like this. So is this great? Yes. So one thing you have to fix right away before we move on is very important. So we're going to fix something right in here. We fix something. So we want to make sure if this is actually a positive value, we want to see a green color. So if it's a negative value, we want to actually see under red color. So we're going to be switching between green and red for positive and negative value, right? Okay, on this particular part right in here, I don't want to see 63 million. I don't want to see 423 million. I don't want to see 487 million in a full format. Instead, I want to see something like 487.2 million, 423.3 million, 63.8 million, something like that. So this is actually a little bit difficult to do, but not that difficult if you have not done it before. It's simple, right? If you've not done it before, it's going to be very hard for you, but it's simple. I'm going to show you a way to actually get it done with ease before we actually come back here and have this particular place formatted. So how about that? Let me show you. So go over to here. We're going to be doing this one time and we're going to be reusing it over and over again. So you have to pay attention on how I'm going to get this done. So first of all, we're going to be using nested if to get this done. Or you can use ifs or switch function. But I'm going to be using nested if to make it easy for you guys. So over here, I'm going to say if this particular number here, if it is greater than or equals 1 billion, that is 9 zeros. If that is the case, we're going to be using text function here to actually format the value. So we're taking this particular number here and dividing it by the same 1 billion. Then once we have done this now, put a comma over here. Inside here, do 0.00. Then close the double quotes. Now, once you have done this, you have to add an ampersand to concatenate B for billion to it. So we have just formatted it into billion, which means if we have numbers that runs into billion, this will be well formatted. Now place a comma on it. Alt enter to go into a new line, then we'll type in under if again. So I'm going to say if this particular number is greater than or equals 1 million, then under text function again, so we take this particular number, we divide it by 1 million, then place a comma, inside double quotes 0.00, then over here we're going to do under ampersand again, then here is going to be million. You see that now? So now Alt enter to go into a new line. So type under if again. We take this particular number and ask if it is equals, if it's greater than or equals to 1000. Then text function. So we take this particular number, we divide it by 1000, then 0.00 close. Now we do an ampersand here. So I think we just flopped something here. We should have this closed. Sorry for that. Have this closed. Then have this one here closed. It's important before you actually concatenate M and B. So over here, I'm going to have this closed. And what I'm going to do right now is to actually say, okay, over here, we want to concatenate K, which is 1000. So other than this, what we need to do is to say, okay, whatever it is, just go ahead and actually take, using text, take this particular number here and format it just like that. So what do we want to do? In this particular format, we just want to do 0 over here. Now, how many ifs did we open? So we opened, I think we opened 3 ifs. So can you see what we have done now? This is exactly what it is. So it will be difficult for you to see this particular Naira sign here. But what you can do is just to go to Google. If your currency symbol is not found on the keyboard, the easiest way to get it is actually go over here and type in Naira sign. So type in your country, sign, and you're going to have it over here. You can see. So I'm going to copy this particular little one from here. Can you see now? Not this one, but this one over here. Or you can actually copy this symbol, whichever one you want to copy. We have copied it, and Excel will actually work with it. So if I double click right now, sorry, I think I flopped. Let's delete this one. So go back to the KPI. So if I double click on this one now, I have it open. So this is where we have to place it. Place it over here. Place it over here. Place this one over here. Then place this one over here. Then hit the enter key. You can see we have it like this. So if you want to see it with 1 decimal number, all you have to do is to make sure you remove 1 zeros. Then that is all. Just remove 1 0. So now we have done this. Just go ahead and Control A, Control C to copy, then escape, then come over here and paste it down here. So just make sure you select here, go to the formula bar and paste it. So it's going to pick up this one. So what we can do right now is just to double click on this and select this one. The easiest way to quickly get it to actually look at this particular number is to actually copy this one, double click and Control V. So quickly you can see how you can replace it with ease. Can you see it now? This is how easy it could actually be. So if I hit my enter key right now, it's actually picking from here. Check it out. So we can do the same exact thing for this particular one right here. So we copy, and that way to do it is actually after I might have copied, you just come over here and paste it in the formula bar. So right away, I can actually start moving this one and have it over here. So one after the other, this and that way to actually get it done. I don't know which one is faster. I think the first one I did was actually faster. Just start moving it. So move it. Almost done. Finally, if I hit my enter key, this is exactly what it is. Can you see it now? So this is what we have done. So what do we need to do? We have to come over here now and replace this one with the right one. So we just come over to KPI, and that is income is this one. So we come over here and we replace it with this expenses here. So we replace balance as well. So can you see it now? Okay, now it is time for we to actually do the formatting for our KPI because we are almost done with it. So I'm going to hold my control key to select this one, exclude this one, and this one. Go over here, go to home, and from home, let us select a particular font. So search for this font, this one here. Okay, so make sure the size is actually 18. This is what we want. Okay, now this one and this particular one here, they are going to be green. Let's go with something dark green. We look okay. Okay, this one here, expenses, we want to make sure expenses is actually red. This is okay. So we want to make this one dynamic. And as well, this one as well can be dynamic if you want. But how do we do this inside Excel and make sure it gives us what we want? So let's go over here and make sure we select a particular calm black color. Something like this looks better. Okay, now this one is the problem now. Let's go over to KPI. So we're going to come over here, So over to, where could I do that? I think over here now. So in this case, I'm going to just turn off the grid line for this. So it's important. So I'm going to reference this particular one here. So once I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to come over here and select. Let's go with 16. Okay, I think 14 looks cool. So now I'm going to select this particular one here and go over to this home. Then conditional formatting, we go to new rule. Then we select cell. So select this particular one. We select over here and say if it is greater than 0, then we come over here. If that is true, the font is what we want to change. Then give us this. Click on OK. Click on OK. Now we are having this. Then we go back again and click on new. Then click over here. And this particular one, we select here again. If it is less than 0, then we change it to red. That is the conditional formatting you can give to it. So change it to this particular one here. So it's still going to give us green because it's actually not like that. Okay, so if I put over here minus, can you see what we have now? Just to test it out. So remove it because it's not. So we have it back. Okay, now with this, I'm just going to go ahead and Ctrl-C to copy. Let's go over to our dashboard environment. So once we are here, select a particular cell, go over to the top ribbon, go to paste, paste as picture, link picture. So now here we go. We have this. So I'm going to take off this one. Then this is the new one here now. So right away, it's too small compared to what we have here. Let's go back here. And over here, I'm going to choose to go for 18. So let's go back to our dashboard environment. So now it matches what we have right in here. Can you see it now? This is beautiful. This is beautiful. So we have our KPI, but we are not done yet. So we have two things to be done here. So bring this one down here. So make sure the plus is active before you drag and release it. So over here now, we're gonna actually make sure we do average monthly. Income. So we're just gonna make sure we reduce it. So we duplicate this one and have it right in here. So you see that now? So we can actually copy any one of our choice from here and bring it all the way down. So let's go ahead and do the average. So here is average monthly income. So this one is for expenses. So we don't need to actually format this like what we have done here. I'm just going to leave it this way. So go over to here, align and align bottom. So we can actually increase it a little bit. So this is okay. So I want to choose this green color for this one. Then for here, I'm going to choose the red color. So here we go. We have something like this. I can now select both of them and push them down a little bit. Okay, now, finally, we have actually created our KPI, and this is exactly what you should do. I believe you must have gotten to this particular part. If you have, and you're still watching without hitting the like button, please go ahead and like this video. Leave a comment, let me know what you feel about this. And if you have not subscribed, it's very important. Please do subscribe and share to your friends and family, if need be, to your coworkers.